The encryption battle now heading to Europe. The attack in Brussels forcing European countries to put pressure on Apple and other tech giants. This week, France is voting on a new law that gets digital data overseas. To Dagen, McDowell, and MacDonald on, well, the fight just beginning, huh, guys?
Yeah. Go ahead, Dagen.
No, you go first.
Okay.
But again, I'll start with Apple and the FBI have reached some sort of at least temporary truce in this battle to open.
That's because they got a third party, right? The FBI is getting a third party to unlock this phone.
But it's not going to go away. At least in this country, there's something called allowing reasonable search and seizures under the Fourth Amendment. They're going to have to figure out that. But a lot of Europe's problems, Edward Snowden scared the pants off of them, right? That sniveling weasel, and they've gotten in they're big on privacy rights until the security of the homeland.
Yeah, and Germany's history of surveillance with the movie Lives of Others certainly detailed that. To Dagen's point, the bills are really draconian. What France and Britain, for example, are talking about. They're talking about preemptively tracking while in transit internet information. We haven't seen that before. Also forcing companies to hold on to data for 5 years, even non-tech companies. So that's a big deal. I don't know what non-tech companies. This data, though,
that you're talking about, EMAC, would it be? Are there parameters for them to flag?
I've never seen any legislation that would say law enforcement could come in and watch while in transit there's internet traffic crossing the transit.
But are they specifically saying, hey, you know what? If it's traffic coming in on the internet from someone who's suspicious,
yeah. But how do you define that? So the thing too, they're talking about prison sentences and jail, fines against tech companies if they don't comply. The so-called Snoopers Charter in Great Britain has a lot of people concerned. We understand it. We want to catch the bad guys. But, Dagen and I were talking at the break. If they had all this data, could they? They had photographs, as Dagen pointed out. Did that stop the bombing in the airport?
Well, it's the data and what you do with the data. But I think a lot of people are saying technology companies need to step up to the plate and stop hiding behind disingenuous arguments. Because at the end of the day, saving lives is more important than anything else.
Right. Well, Apple's marketing pitch to the customers is, hey, this phone that we make that belongs to you, we don't have to comply with court orders. It's going to be impossible. That's their whole pitch to customers. And as much as Tim Cook and Apple have tried to make the FBI look like this great Darth Vader, that they're going to have the same problems with Europe, which is what you're saying. And they've been siding with privacy over in Europe for a while. They've been trying to put together in the EU a database of passenger information, of airline passenger information, for almost 10 years. Yeah. And they still can't get it done.
But that's the point. Should the tech companies step in where the security apparatus has failed? In other words, the jihadis have, better access cross borders to each other than security services in the EU. So that's the question. Are we putting too much of an onus on the tech companies to step in where law enforcement is not stepping up?
Well, that very first commercial that Apple ran during the Super Bowl was based on 1984 and the notion that it's Apple and the consumer versus big governments who abuse their power.
And again, if it's not the government's job to protect the homeland and protect your national security, then I don't know what the government is there for. And I'll point to Germany. After the Edward Snowden-induced hissy fit, they stopped cooperating with this intelligence data sharing program with the NSA. But now,
well, now they need
it.
We saw arrests in all of these countries.
But some of this is draconian.
Sure. But we saw all of these. To your point, though, governments need to step up themselves. Maybe to a certain degree, technology is a scapegoat, but they know they have to step up. We saw arrests in Brussels, France, Germany, Italy, all connected. So maybe this is the wake-up call. All right, guys, thanks a lot.